My name is Hanson Hovell from the art history course, doing an interview with Mr. Adam Byers.
Hello.
All right, question number one. What do you see as the role of the visual arts in our mass-mediated world, and particularly in your profession?
Well, writing's a little bit difficult when it comes to visual arts. The reason why is because visual arts is, visual, and writing doesn't tend to make pictures with their words. So, what I would say visual is important for in writing is to quickly encapsulate someone's thought on an idea. Like, I want to compare someone to Mona Lisa. Bam! That draws an immediate response to a listener or a reader, whoever is looking at my work.
All right, question number two. With new communications and media technologies, imagery is almost instantly available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or negative influence on the industry? And if so, you got to provide your example.
I think this is a mixed bag. I believe that in the industry, with images being so readily available, there's some great positive effects, like having developers be able to quickly use imagery that is noticeable, that's well known, or having a person who's developing something for the first time be able to reproduce something quickly without having to worry too much about the details because it's a harder project for them since it's new. On the other hand, you have disasters where like somebody takes an image that does not belong to them and tries to claim it as their own. My favorite example of that is in one of my video games that I play, Mass Effect 2. They used a picture of this snowy background with a tree in the background, and it was a very beautiful picture, but it turned out that that picture was just a slightly edited version of a DeviantArt picture found online.
Number three, all right, we've got what popular images do you see that are frequently rechanneled throughout the entertainment industry?
This is an interesting question. It's one of my personal favorites. This question, I talked about this last time I was interviewed about a particular poses are used a lot with the comic book industry. But just in general, I mean, you have the Madonna cradling the Christ figure. That's been seen throughout so many different mediums. I mean, how many times have you seen a woman cradling a dead child while the child's kind of sprawled out behind her?
Are there particular images that this industry has popularized and or created?
Going back on to comic books, yes. Comic books need to have good pictures that are also drawn very quickly. So they have to have visual shorthand. I touched on this the last time I was interviewed. But what it is they need to quickly convey this person's a hero, this person's a villain. So they'll use color, they'll use the shape of the person's head and jaw, they'll have poses, the Superman hands on the waist pose, all sorts of good stuff like that.
All right. Who is one of your favorite visual artists, and or what is your favorite style of visual art?
My favorite visual art and my favorite visual style of art are the Renaissance and Botticelli, who painted The Birth of Venus. My personal favorite painting of all time. I love that painting. I could watch it for hours.
Down to the last, final question. How has your knowledge of famous artworks influenced your creative process?
I'm going to tackle this one a little bit differently because this one's for writers. It's very hard to find writers who own up to being inspired by visual art. So I will say that the knowledge of famous artworks like famous books, personally I'm very influenced by fantasy authors such as Mercedes Lackey and J.R.R. Tolkien. That's because I enjoy writing fantasy, and nothing exists in a vacuum. You will always have to have some of your style influenced from another person.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Adam Byers. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, Hanson. It's been a pleasure.